Hello everyone, I am Sambashiva Rao, Assistant Professor, SR and Business Arts and Science College, Khammam, Telangana. Today our topic is real number system. So in this topic, first of all, I am going to discuss what is number system and what are different sets of numbers and how the number system is developed. And then I will go to real numbers. In real numbers, I am going to discuss some properties of real numbers. Out of these, in this video I am going to discuss what is an absolute value function and its properties, and also I am going to discuss maximum element and minimum element of a set, etc. See this. So see this. So the first ever set of numbers is natural numbers. So the set 1, 2, 3 so on is said to be the set of natural numbers. Also we can use another term, the set of counting numbers, because if anyone asks you to count anything, any object, then how can you proceed? We will count things or animals or birds, whatever it may be, by using the numbers 1, 2, 3 so on. Therefore the set of natural numbers is also called counting numbers. So adding 0 to the set of natural numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3 so on. Adding 0 to the set of natural numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3 so on, this is said to be the set of whole numbers and it is denoted by W. So adding negative numbers to the set of natural numbers, Z is equal to so on -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. This is said to be the set of integers. Set of integers also can be written as Z is equal to 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, so on. So out of this, in Z, these numbers are said to be negative numbers. It is denoted by Z minus is equal to -1, -2, -3, so on. And 1, 2, 3 is said to be set of positive integers. Z plus is equal to 1, 2, 3, so on. So therefore we can say Z is equal to Z minus union Z plus union singleton set 0. Therefore we can say Z is the union of negative integers, positive integers and 0. 0 is neither negative nor positive, and hence the set of natural numbers n can also be denoted by Z plus. So the set of positive integers is same as the set of natural numbers. And then Q, the set of rational numbers is denoted by Q and is defined as the numbers which can be expressed in the form of P by Q. The numbers which can be expressed in the form of P by Q wherever PQ are integers. That means PQ belongs to Z and Q not equal to 0. All the numbers of the form P upon Q wherever PQ belongs to Z and Q not equal to 0 are said to be rational numbers. Therefore the set of rational numbers can be written like this: Q is equal to P by Q, PQ belongs to Z and Q not equal to 0. So this condition is must. For example, P upon Q, when we write P upon Q, the condition Q not equal to 0 is a must, because the division with Q is not defined, is meaningless. The division with no number can be divided with 0. Therefore we must have denominator must not be 0. Therefore P by Q is meaningful only when Q not equal to 0. Next, the set of real numbers. See this, R, the set of real numbers. Combining rational numbers and irrational numbers, we will get the set of real numbers. What are irrational numbers? The numbers that cannot be expressed in the form p by q are said to be irrational numbers. The numbers that can be expressed in the form of p by q are said to be rational numbers, and the numbers that cannot be expressed in the form of p by q are said to be irrational numbers. For example, let's see some examples. 2 by 3 is a rational numbers. It is in the form of p by q. 4 is also a rational number because 4 can be written as 4 by 1. This is in the form p by q. Therefore, 4 is all integers are rational numbers. 0 is also a rational number because 0 can be written as 0 by 1. So when we think of decimal fractions, for example, see this 2.3. Is it rational or irrational? 2.3 can be written as 23 by 10. This is rational number. So this decimal is said to be terminating decimal. Terminating decimal means there are finite integers after decimal. After the decimal there are finite digits. Therefore, then it is said to be terminating decimal. All the terminating decimals can be expressed in the form p by q, and hence they are rational numbers. For example, say this 2.3333 like this. This can be written as 2.3 bar. This decimal is said to be non-terminating recurring decimal. This is non-terminating, but the digit 3 is recurring again and again. Therefore, this is said to be non-terminating recurring decimal. These non-terminating recurring decimals also can be written in the form p by q. So in our lower class we can easily see that how we are familiar with the procedure how to express the non-terminating recurring decimals in the form of p by q. Therefore, non-terminating recurring decimals can be expressed in the form of p by q. Therefore, they are also rational numbers. If you see some number, for example, see this 2.1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. So this is said to be non-terminating, non-recurring decimal because the digits are occurring infinitely many digits are there after decimal, and also no part is repeating. For example, no part of this, no digit or no combination of digits, no group of digits is repeating. Therefore, this is said to be non-terminating, non-recurring decimal. This cannot be written. This cannot be written in the form p by q. Therefore, this is not rational number, and hence it is irrational number. So, when we think of decimal numbers, terminating decimals are rational numbers, non-terminating recurring decimals also rational numbers, but non-terminating non-recurring decimals are not rational numbers. Therefore, they are irrational numbers. So, examples of irrational numbers are root 2, root 3, root 5. All these are irrational numbers. Root 4, what about root 4? Is it rational or irrational? No. Root 4 is not rational number, it is irrational number. So, root 4 is not irrational number, this is rational number because root 4 can be written as 2. Root 4 is equal to, it can be expressed as 2 by 1, and hence root 4 is a rational number. So, what we can understand from this? All the roots of perfect roots are rational numbers, and roots of all the numbers to whom perfect roots are not there are irrational numbers. Therefore, root 2, root 3, root 5 are irrational numbers, and pi is also irrational number. What is the value of pi? Pi is equal to 3.14, so on. Actually, the value of pi is non-terminating, non-recurring decimal. Therefore, pi is irrational number. For example, so generally we write what is pi? Pi is equal to 22 by 7. Actually, 22 by 7 is not exact value of pi. Just 22 by 7 is approximate value of pi. For our Liberty, we just approximate pi with 22 by 7, but actually 22 by 7 is not equal to pi exactly. It is approximation of pi. Therefore, pi is not rational number, it is irrational number. And also E is also an irrational number. These are irrational numbers. So combining rational and irrational numbers, this is called real numbers. Therefore, R is equal to nothing but combination of combining rational and irrational number, we get the set of real numbers. So this is the complex number set. Actually, what is the necessity of complex numbers? For example, if you take what is the solution of x square plus 1 is equal to 0. So then we will try to do like this: x square equal to minus 1, then x is equal to root minus 1. What is the root of minus 1? Actually, there is no real number such that root of minus 4 is not defined in real numbers. The root of minus 9 is not defined in real numbers, because root of 4 is equal to root 4 is equal to plus or minus 2, because 2 square is equal to 4 and minus 2 whole square is also plus 4. Therefore, root 4 is equal to plus or minus 2. Root 4 is equal to plus or minus 2. So, what is root minus 4? There is no real number which is equal to root minus 4, because so if you want to find root minus 4, we need some number, so that by squaring it we will get root minus 4. Therefore, by squaring no number we will get minus 4. Therefore, we can't find any number like this. Therefore, there is no real number which is equal to root minus 4, and similarly there is no real number which is equal to root minus 1. Therefore, root minus 1 is denoted by I. So, by denoting root minus 1 I, we can find root of every negative number in terms of I, because root minus 4 can be written as plus or minus 2i. How? See this. Root minus 4 can be written as root 4 into minus 1. This is equal to root 4 into root minus 1. This is equal to plus or minus 2. Root minus 1 is equal to I. Therefore, root minus 4 is equal to plus or minus 2i. Therefore, only by denoting root minus 1 with I, we can express root of every negative integer in terms of I. So, all these numbers are called imaginary numbers. All these are called imaginary numbers. The combination of real and imaginary part is said to be complex number. So, this is complex number. For example, 2 plus 3i, 1 minus I, 3 plus 4i. In all these are combination of real and imaginary number. For example, in 3 plus 4i, 3 is real number and 4i is imaginary number. So, the combination of real and imaginary numbers is called complex numbers. The set of complex number is denoted by C is equal to A plus IB whenever AB belongs to R. So, this is the relation between the different sets of numbers. N is subset of Z, Z is subset of Q, Q is subset of R, and R is subset of C. So, for this we can easily see that every natural number is an integer, and every integer is a rational number. Every integer can be expressed in the form of P by Q, therefore every integer is a rational number. Every rational number is a real number, and every real number is a complex number. For example, 2 is a real number, 2 belongs to R. How can 2 be a complex number? So, 2 can be written in the form of 2 plus 0i. Wherever 2 is real part and 0i is imaginary part. Therefore, 2 is also can be written in the form of a plus bi. Therefore, 2 is also a complex number. So, every real number is a complex number. So, we can write this relation between the set of numbers. So, by this diagram you can easily understand. By this diagram you can easily understand the relation between the different sets of numbers. N is subset of Z, Z is subset of Q, and union of Q and Q dash is the set of real numbers and hence Q is subset of R and R is subset of C. This is the relation between different sets of numbers. Now let us discuss some properties of real numbers. So first property is absolute value or absolute value function. So what is the absolute value of a real number? Suppose let A is a real number. Then the absolute value of A is it is denoted by modulus A. The symbol for absolute value is modulus A, and it is defined as modulus A is equal to A if A greater than or equal 0, and modulus A is equal to minus A if A less than 0. This is the definition of absolute value of a real number. So what does it mean? So here we can understand that whenever A is positive or 0, modulus A is equal to A. Whenever A is negative, then modulus A is equal to minus A. From this we can see these examples. For example, what is modulus 2? Since 2 is positive number, whenever A is positive number, modulus A is equal to A. Therefore, since 2 is positive number, therefore modulus 2 is equal to 2. So what is modulus 3? Modulus 3. Since 3 is a positive number, so modulus 3 is equal to 3 itself. What is modulus minus 4? Here we know that minus 4 is a negative number. Whenever A is a negative number, modulus A is equal to minus A. Therefore, since minus 4 is negative, we have to apply this principle. Therefore, modulus minus 4 is equal to minus of minus 4, that is equal to 4. What is modulus 0? Whenever A is equal to 0, modulus A is equal to A. Therefore, modulus 0 is equal to 0. Therefore, from this we can easily understand that, for example, modulus 3 is equal to 3. Modulus minus 3 is equal to 3. From this we can easily see that modulus value of a number is always a positive number. Modulus value is always greater than 0. Therefore, you can easily write that modulus A greater than or equal to 0 always. So, this is the graph of modulus function. Here we can see whenever x is equal to 1, modulus 1 is equal to 1. So if x is equal to, modulus 2 is equal to 2. If x is equal to 3, modulus 3 is equal to 3. So if x is equal to 1, modulus 1 is equal to 1. Although if x is equal to minus 1, modulus 1 is equal to 1. If x is equal to minus 2, then also modulus 2 is equal to, modulus minus 2 is equal to 2. So if x is equal to minus 3, modulus minus 3 is equal to 3. So here we can observe that for whether x may be positive or negative, but value of modulus x is always positive, because we can see only positive part of y-axis. Therefore, whether x is positive or negative, modulus x is always either positive or 0. Therefore, modulus x greater than or equal to 0 always for every x belongs to R, modulus x greater than or equal to 0. So see this. Suppose that x1, x2 are two real numbers. x1, x2 belongs to R. Then what is modulus x1 minus x2? Modulus x minus x2 gives the distance between the real numbers x1 and x2. For example, see this number line. Here it is 0, 1, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2. Suppose that A is equal to minus 2, B is equal to 3. Then the distance between minus 2, 3 is, obviously we can see in the picture, the distance between minus 2 and 3 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the distance. Also, modulus A minus B is equal to modulus minus 2 minus 3. This is equal to modulus minus 5. This is equal to 5. Therefore, from this we can easily understand that modulus x1 minus x2 gives the distance between the real numbers x1 and x2. So some properties of absolute value. As we can see already, Modulus A is always greater than 0 for every real number or for every real number A, modulus A is always greater than or equal to 0. And another property, modulus A into B is equal to modulus A into modulus B. For example, let A is equal to minus 2, B is equal to 3. Then modulus AB is equal to modulus minus 2 into 3, that is equal to modulus minus 6, that is equal to 6. Modulus A is equal to modulus A into modulus B is equal to modulus minus 2 into modulus 3. This is equal to 2 into 3. This is equal to 6. Here it is 6 and here it is 6. Therefore, we can see that modulus AB is equal to modulus A into modulus B. In the similar way, we can write this modulus A by B is equal to modulus A by modulus B whenever B not equal to 0. So, modulus A upon B is equal to modulus A upon modulus B. Next, see this property. So, modulus A plus B is equal to modulus A plus modulus B. Is it true always? No. It may be true or may not be true. Sometimes it is true and sometimes it is not true. So, let us take two cases. Suppose that A is equal to and B is equal to 3. Then obviously A plus B is equal to what? 5. Modulus A plus B is equal to modulus 5, that is equal to 5. Modulus A plus modulus B is equal to, since A is equal to modulus A is equal to modulus 2 plus modulus 5. This is equal to modulus 2 plus modulus 3. This is equal to 2 plus 3. This is equal to 5. Here it is 5. Here it is 5. Therefore, in this case, modulus A plus B is equal to modulus A plus modulus B. Let us take another case. Suppose that A is equal to minus 2, B is equal to 3. Then obviously what is A plus B is equal to minus 2 plus 3, that is equal to 1. Therefore, modulus A plus B is equal to modulus 1, that is equal to 1. Modulus A plus modulus B is equal to modulus minus 2 plus modulus 3. This is equal to 2 plus 3. This is equal to 5. Therefore, modulus A plus B is equal to 1 and modulus A plus modulus B is equal to 5. In this case, what we got? Modulus A plus modulus B less than modulus A plus B. So, in this case, we can write modulus A plus B is equal to 1, modulus A plus modulus B is equal to 5. Therefore, we can write modulus A plus B is less than modulus A plus modulus B. Therefore, we can write this modulus A plus B is less than or is equal to modulus A plus modulus B. This is very important, just keep in mind. Modulus A plus B is less than or is equal to modulus A plus modulus B. This is known as triangular inequality. This is very, very important, triangular inequality. And also another property of absolute value, modulus A is equal to modulus minus A. We know that whether A is positive or negative, we see that modulus 3 is equal to 3 and modulus minus 3 is equal to 3. Therefore, modulus 3 is equal to modulus minus 3. Therefore, either A is positive or negative, we can write like this. Modulus A is equal to modulus minus A. And now, so always minus modulus A less than or is equal to A less than or is equal to modulus A. Therefore, always A lies between minus modulus A and modulus A. For example, if you take A is equal to, then modulus A is equal to also, modulus A is also 2. Therefore, this can be written as minus 2 less than or is equal to 2 less than or is equal to. In this case, here we can get minus 2 less than 2 and here 2 is equal to. Therefore, this equality is true. So, if you take a negative value, suppose take A is equal to minus 2. Then minus modulus A is equal to what? Modulus A is equal to modulus minus 2, that is equal to 2. Therefore minus modulus this property turns like this. Minus modulus A is equal to minus 2 less than or is equal to A is equal to less than or is equal to modulus A is equal to. Here 2 is equal to 2 and minus 2 less than 2. Therefore in this case also, so whenever A is negative, for example see this, whenever A is, suppose A is equal to minus 2, then modulus A is equal to 2. In this case, this property turns like minus modulus A means minus 2 less than or is equal, A is equal to minus 2, therefore here minus 2 less than or equal to modulus A is equal to 2. Here we get equality here because minus 2 is equal to minus 2. Here we get less than. Therefore, in this case also this property is true. Therefore, we can write for every real number A minus modulus A less than or is equal to A less than or is equal to modulus A. So, modulus A minus B greater than or is equal to modulus A minus modulus B. How can you derive this? For example, take this. By triangular inequality, we can write modulus A plus B less than or is equal to modulus A plus modulus B. Therefore, take modulus A. This can be written as modulus A minus B plus B. Therefore, by applying triangular inequality, take A minus B as a number and B as a number, apply triangular inequality, then we will get less than or is equal to modulus A minus B plus modulus B. Therefore, shift to modulus B this side, then we will get modulus A minus modulus B less than or equal to modulus A minus B. Thus, modulus A minus B greater than or is equal to modulus A minus modulus B. Therefore, we can write modulus A minus B is greater than or equal to modulus A minus modulus B. This is another property of absolute value. Now, see, maximum element and minimum element of a set S. Suppose that S is a non-empty set of R. Then what is maximum element of S? Suppose that S0 belongs to S, S0 is an element of S, is such that S less than or is equal to S0 for all S belongs to S. This means S0 is an element of S and every element of the set S is smaller than S0. Then in this case S0 is said to be the maximum element of S. We denote it by maximum S is equal to S0. So what is the meaning of maximum element? Maximum element of a set is the element of a set which is larger than each element of the set. And if S0 is an element of S and S greater than or equal to S0 for all S belongs to S, that means every element of the set is greater than S0. Then S0 is said to be the minimum of S, and in this case we write min S is equal to S0. This is the notation to indicate this. Therefore, what is the minimum element? What is the definition, meaning of minimum element or minimum? So, the minimum element is an element of the set S which is smaller than every element of the set. Every finite examples. Every finite non-empty set of R has maximum and minimum. If you take any finite set, then you must have a maximum element and minimum element of the set. Every finite set has a maximum element and minimum element. For example, take 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a finite set. What is the maximum of 1, 2, 3, 4? 4. And what is its minimum? You can see minimum of the set is 1. If you take the set of natural numbers, what is the set of natural numbers? 1, 2, 3, so on. So here the minimum value of this set, minimum set of natural numbers n is equal to 1. What is the maximum element of this set? There is no maximum element of this because infinitely increasing the values. Therefore, since this is infinite set and here the minimum element of the set is 1 and there is no maximum element. If you take Z, the set of integers, we can write minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. So what is the minimum element of set and maximum element of set? There is no minimum and there is no maximum for the set Z. The set of integers Z has no minimum and no maximum. See this, intervals. This is very important. We have different types of intervals: closed interval, open interval, and half open and half closed intervals. For example, let A, B are two real numbers and A less than B. In all these cases, we assume that A, B belongs to or A, B are two real numbers and A is less than B. Then this is known as closed interval AB. This is defined as x such that A less than or is equal to x less than or is equal to B. That means all the elements lies between A and B and including A and including B is the set is called closed interval AB. Closed interval AB consists all the elements between A and B, and also it consists the endpoints A and B also. This is closed interval AB. This is open interval AB. How can you define open interval? X such that A less than x less than B. Whenever it is closed interval, the condition is A less than or equal to x less than or equal to B. For open interval, the condition is A less than x less than B. That means all the elements lie between A and B are the elements of open interval AB. So the difference between closed interval AB and open interval AB is the difference between closed interval AB and open interval AB. So in closed interval AB, the endpoints A and B are also the members of the interval. When it comes to open interval, only the elements lie between A and B are the members of this interval, but the endpoints A and B are not the members of the interval. That is the difference. So see this. Closed A and open B. This can be defined as x such that A less than or equal to x less than B. That means all the elements between A and B including A only. Here you can see in the notation that at A the interval is closed and at B the interval is open. That means this denotes the set of all numbers lie between A and B including A. For example, in this the interval at A is opened and the interval at B is closed. So in this interval, all the elements lie between A and B are included, and also B is included. A is not included because the interval is open at A and the interval is closed at B. So these two intervals are called semi-open. Semi-open intervals are half-open intervals. For example, you can see in the diagram closed A and open B, all the elements lie between A and B including A here. So here open A, closed B, all the elements lie between A and B including element B in this case. These two are called semi-open intervals or semi-closed intervals or half-open intervals. See this. These are infinite intervals. Closed A, infinity. That means all the elements x such that x greater than or equal to A. All the elements greater than x and including A also. This can be denoted by this. Here at A the interval is closed, therefore we can include A here. All the A and all the elements greater than A lies in the interval A infinity. So here open A infinity, x such that x greater than A. Here x greater than or equal to, here x greater than A. All the elements which are greater than A lies in this interval. Here minus infinity A, closed interval, x such that x less than or equal to A. Here all the elements less than A and including A lies in the interval. Minus infinity A, here interval is open at A, therefore this can be defined as x such that x less than A. So since interval is open at A, we should not include A in this interval. Therefore, in this interval, all the elements which are less than A lies. A is not included in this interval because the interval is open at A. Finally, minus infinity, infinity is nothing but all the elements lie between minus infinity, infinity. That means all the real numbers are included. Therefore, minus infinity, comma infinity open interval is equal to real number set R. These are the intervals. So, for closed interval AB, maximum element is B and minimum element is A. So, when it comes to open interval, so sorry, this is wrong. Actually, there is no maximum element and there is no minimum element to open interval AB. For example, if you take open interval AB, there is no maximum element and there is no minimum element, because here you can understand, you can see that here you may think that A is minimum element and B is maximum element, but A is not minimum element and B is not maximum element, because the maximum element and minimum element should lie in the set itself. Here in this open interval, A and B are not members of this open interval. Therefore, A is not minimum element and B is not maximum element. Therefore, open interval AB has no maximum and no minimum. So, semi-open interval, if you take closed A and open B, here minimum element of is A, it has no maximum element because A is the member of this interval, therefore minimum element is A. Since B is not the member of this interval has no maximum. So, but here in this case, here B is the member of this interval, therefore B is maximum of this interval, but A is not member of this interval, therefore AB has no minimum. So these are the basic properties we have to keep in mind. What we discussed in this case, absolute value and maximum element and minimum element, we have also discussed some properties of open and closed intervals, half open intervals, like this. Thank you very much.